Call the meeting of the East Lampeter Township Emergency Services Committee to order. First item of business is the approval of the September 17th regular meeting minutes. Are there any changes?
You're being recorded for sure.
I was going to water date this, you know. Any changes to the minutes?
None.
Okay. Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the minutes of the September 17th regular meeting? Hear a motion, do I hear a second? Seconded by Melanie. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Old business report from the Lafayette's apparatus replacement for their engine 633.
Maybe I should wait a minute.
Yeah, let it catch up.
Almost like Groundhog Day, like reliving this thing.
So we received the drawings back from Pierce Manufacturing, and they were not to our liking as far as the pump panel and the switch layout in the cab. So we had a meeting to rediscuss that and reviewed the layout, redesigned the pump panel, redesigned the switches inside the cab, and sent that back to Pierce. Switch layout in the cab. So we had a meeting, rediscussed that, and reviewed the layout, redesigned the pump panel.
Is that up the plate?
We have since met again, and they have redesigned the pump panel to our liking this time, and the switches look good in the cab. We have set up the decaling and all the striping. Basically went over any minor details like headsets, lights.
Don't you love technology?
And we are approved. We approved those modifications. That happened just last week, and the unit is set to hit the line in late February, early March next year.
Will your redesign have any impact on the price?
No.
It's
now.
We
not,
think so.
it's not feeding back. We know that. Did you turn it down? It appears to be working then, I think.
February, March, so you'll be taking delivery, you think, in April?
It's going to be April or mid-May.
Okay. When the unit does come in, it'd be a good idea, I think, to present it not only to the committee, but to the board.
Oh, absolutely.
So you can see what
Okay.
they help
Good.
spend the money
Very
on.
good, yeah.
All right. May. False alarms from the Econo Lodge. Where are you at with that as far as aren't they going to do something to their fire panel or? I forget. Okay. The false alarms from the Econo Lodge, where are you at with that? And
So,
they're going to do something with their panel or something.
yes, they had a lot of activity in that area. Actually, they had brought on a new alarm company to modify and install a new alarm system at the facility. Myself, Ralph Hutchison, Tara Hitchens, and the code enforcement officials, we actually went to, I don't recall the date, maybe 4 weeks ago now, went and reviewed the new alarm system and the upgrades to the system. There were some other deficiencies with the building that were noted that they have to bring up to code. But as far as the new alarm system goes, we should see a gigantic decrease in the amount of false alarms that we run there. The new system actually notifies the premises first to verify that there is a fire before dispatching the fire company. And they basically got all new detectors, it's a whole new system with printout and everything. It's really nice. But lo and behold, wasn't it about a week after that was installed, we actually ran a fire there. We had an electrical fire in one of the rooms, and the system worked flawlessly.
Wow.
And as far as the false alarms go, they have been mitigated, in my opinion. So great success there. We have run 2 false alarms at the Tanger outlets for the pool stations. The individual property tenants, they say that they've ordered the covers and they're just not installed yet, but I'm kind of doubtful of that.
This is a Tanger.
Yes. And also to note, we ran an alarm at the East Town Mall. Middle of the night, general alarm. Got there, it's ringing in all the stores, and all the Knox boxes were empty except for Gabe's and Manor Buffet. We were able to actually, just with a small amount of force, push the door open to Ollie's. So we gained access to Ollie's, and we did not gain access into the other stores. So working with Tara, she contacted the property rep, and they're working with the tenants there to get keys locked in those Knox boxes. That's been about a month now, and I'm still waiting for a call back to go lock those keys in. So I'll be prompting them shortly.
For the Tanger issue, is there any way that we can get proof, like invoice or receipt or something that the poll station covers were ever ordered? Is there any way that we could do that?
I don't know that we have the authority to ask for something like that. You know, they were given occupancy permits at the time that they were built and retrofitted for the tenants, and they met the code. The code currently doesn't require covers. That's kind of an extra thing. So ask them whether they've ordered covers.
The one pool was at the Annie Ann's Pretzels, and they actually showed us the cover in the box. They said they just hadn't had it installed yet. And then several weeks after that, it was just the other day, actually, the Bath and Body Works, a box had fell from the shelf and hit the pool station, and they did not have any evidence of a cover. So when I talked to the management at Tanger, I mean, they said they send out the notices along with the suggestion to purchase the covers, but as far as follow-up and mandating, I don't think there's a lot of teeth there.
Code doesn't mandate that there be covers. I would assume that code doesn't mandate that. All right.
The only additional information I can offer about Econo Lodge is that the legal action which the township started to collect the fees that were owed is still in place. We just got the actual plans for the new system a short time ago. They're being reviewed. Purpose of that is to actually issue a permit for the system, which they never obtained before they put it in. So we're going through that process, and once that's complete and everything's in order, we'll sit down with the owner and resolve the outstanding fee amount. Our plan at this point is to essentially go after just what we need to recover our legal costs, since they put in a new system.
Which is all we really wanted in the first place, something to help mitigate the excessive alarms. All right. Is there anything else other than, it sounds like Econolodge is improving? I'd say that very tenuously, and hopefully it'll ease up on you and get better. Tanger, I'm not certain what you can do is, you can make the recommendations, but code doesn't require it.
I would have to say, that these other places, they're not as habitual as what the Econolodge was. That was our main focus.
I think it sounds like efforts being made, and hopefully with their new system, I'd say you should be running that. I mean, since they put it in, you've had no false and one actual fire.
Right.
That sounds,
Promising.
yeah, they're off. It sounds like they're off on the right foot anyway. Very good. Spill controls, supplies and reimbursements is part of the 2021 budget. I couldn't make the,
That's fine. Everybody will remember that the committee recommended that $3,000 be included in the 2021 budget to reimburse for spill control supplies, which would include the kinds of supplies that you need in for, above and beyond oil dry, but booms and picks and blankets and things. So that was included in the draft stormwater fund budget.
okay,
$3,000 is in there in the draft budget. Now that budget is under the East Lamphere Sewer Authority. It's not under the Board of Supervisors. The authority levies the stormwater fee and controls the stormwater fund. So that's where it's located. If anybody wants to go to the trouble of looking at the budget and figuring out where it is, that's where it is.
but it is in their budget, tentative.
It hasn't been adopted yet. It'll be adopted at the Sewer Authority's meeting in December.
What, do you know the date of that?
Of that meeting?
Yeah.
I believe it's the 9th of December. It's a Wednesday, second Wednesday in December.
Yeah, because the 6th is a Sunday, 7th is Monday, yeah, okay.
Again, as discussed, at the committee's last meeting, the first sources will be the teleoperators, which we have had additional communication through the police department with the teleoperators to require, encourage their cleanup of those spill sites.
Right.
And of course, if you get anything from the hazmat folks, that would replenish as well before you tap into the reimbursement from the stormwater fund.
New business, planned capital purchases for 2021.
So we received information from Lafayette, Bronx, and Burnham, indicating that they essentially had no capital purchases planned other than the truck. And we didn't receive anything from Whitmer. I don't know if that's because there's nothing planned or if it just didn't get communicated.
We had a couple stuff. Matt should be sending that.
Okay. Yeah, the purpose of it being due, in October, is so the committee can discuss them at the November meeting. So if you want me to keep this on the agenda for the January meeting, we can do that so that you have a chance to talk about the first projects.
I would. I like the format that hand in hand use the capital purchases, the amount, and where the funds were coming from. I think that that should be the standard for future submissions. So not only are we told how much, we know what's being bought and where the money's from. So, is there anything else? Out of the 3, 4, okay. Whole township, Hutch, do you have anything from the township?
Just mention a couple of quick things. And if anybody needs to update anything on driver's list, let us know so we can keep that gas card system up to date. Anybody has gas receipts that are out there, helpful to get those in as quick as we can so that we can keep our records clear there. Really appreciate the spill event MS4 reports that we've been getting, and for any events that we haven't gotten them yet, we really appreciate getting those in when you get a chance. As you know, essentially because of the pandemic situation, we haven't done the 2019 awards celebrations like we normally would have. But quite honestly, at this point, I don't know when we're going to do that. So, not that we've forgotten about it. Just been, as everybody knows, it's been a tough year. So, the only other question that I wanted to ask was, we'll be advertising the meeting schedule for next year. And if the committee, has any intent on changing your meeting schedule, it'd be good to know that so that we can properly advertise it. If you want to stick with the third Thursday every odd month, that's fine too. And you decided at your last meeting that all the meetings were going to be here.
Yep.
So that's fine, we know that. Just if there's going to be any other modifications of any sort, be good to know now.
Does anyone have any input on that?
Dave?
I'd like to make a motion that we continue the third Thursday of every other month, every odd month. I think that's how you put it.
Do I hear a second?
Second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. There you go, Hutch.
Thank you.
It's done. Make it official, Dave.
Is that anything else?
All I had, John.
Nope. Was it?
John,
Good.
anything from?
Good.
Dave from Lafayette, anything?
For Polar Fire Companies?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, our steak cook-off was a quiet success. We had 55 people there from all over cooking steaks in the backfield. And the furthest one came from Texas. And the second closest one, I believe, was from Georgia or Alabama. And that was quite something to see, actually, the way they prepared the steaks and chose them from Apple Valley and cooked them off. They did some other cooking also because they were there all afternoon. But I think we stand to make overall probably about $5,000 from that event. And it was kind of a tight-knit thing where the public wasn't involved. And they competed for cash prizes from the barbecue supply on Lincoln Highway. So it was a good promotion for them. And I guess the winner is awarded a gold ticket, like the Willy Wonka gold ticket, and then they get to decide where the next event is held. So keep your fingers crossed. Maybe we'll have it held here at Lafayette again.
There you go.
But that was great. We've been doing some online raffles, and they've been selling out quickly. And I must say that it was an untapped revenue that we had not had before. And then someone had posted on social media about there's a state law that says you cannot pay for raffles using a credit card via electronic form. So we've switched our raffles to the old ticket style, and we're selling tickets until there is a bill before the House to address this. But yeah, we've changed our mind about how we were doing the raffles, and we switched to the tickets. We had an Amish volleyball tournament. The volleyball club, that was kind of a closed type thing too. The Amish community was involved heavily And I was really surprised. The volleyball court there across from the Turkey Hill and Lincoln Highway by the grocery outlet, they pretty much donated their building for the day. And you wouldn't have saw more than 4 or 5 cars in that parking lot. But I'll bet you there was 200 people in there. And I'll tell you, this was championship volleyball. I mean, they would put some players to shame. I attended for a short time, and I was really surprised at what I saw as far as the way that ball was going, moving, and the efforts that were being made to get it back across the net and block. But that event alone, that probably will raise about $2,500 for us. And that was one of our Amish members who organized the whole thing by himself. The Extra Give is tomorrow. This is the first year that we're involved with the Extra Give since we've become a 501c3. And I'll tell you, getting involved with the Extra Give is a lot of work. Of course, you know, if you're going to get some funds out of it, you're going to have to have some live shows and some live things going on. So we've already created a few videos that we've posted online. So if you want to get on the Extra Give and type in Lafayette, you can see some of the things that we posted on there. And I don't expect a lot of funding to come out of it tomorrow, but you never know. COVID grants. We put in for the Lancaster County COVID grant. That was a $15,000 grant, and the state COVID grant, when it first came out, it was for $15,000. Then they said that they would distribute funds equally on top of that if there were funds left over. But we were fortunate enough to be awarded $25,000 from the state, $15,000 from the county, for a total of $40,000. Now, the rules around those grants have changed half a dozen times, what you can use the money for and how you can use the money. So we have had plenty of apparatus repairs, and we've also had some loss of funding from not being able to rent the hall. We've had revamped our fund drive letter that we send out to the community. And, you know, we're going to try and show the losses in those areas. But as far as the cash goes, we're going to hold on to it. Because if they don't like our answers in the end when we get audited, we'll give the money back. So we're just going to hold on to that money for now. And the rules may change again, and COVID is on the uptick again. You know, so who knows what's going to happen. But at any rate, we're not going to expend those funds, just in case. Fire company elections, December the 7th. You might see some changes in leadership at Lafayette. Last thing I have is, I have the hall rentals. Hall rentals we're booking our hall like crazy right now. I mean, that's it's right now though. We're seeing people starting to cancel for January though, and it may be because of the COVID as it upticks. We're going to evaluate that as we go. When I watch the news tonight, you know, I see that we're in worse shape now than we were back in March and April when we were closing restaurants, when we all had to attend meetings on Zoom. But nobody seems to want to backpedal today. Nobody wants to go back to that. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But it may come to a time where we might have to close down our hall again, our fire station. It may become a time where this meeting may have to be held on Zoom again. You know, I don't know. Nobody really wants to go back to it. The last thing I have is the county paging system, P25 pagers. Okay, so several years ago, the township gave us monies for portable radios. Each fire company received, I'm going to say it was $35,000. And then we also, each fire company received $15,000 for pagers, maybe a year ago to a year and a half ago. That's all going to come live here the first week of January. The old system's getting turned off. So we were fully prepared for what's about to take place. We just distributed all our pagers at Lafayette this past meeting, which was the membership meeting, November the 7th. So here we go. Thank you for making it happen.
For your hall rentals, when you show your loss, you're just going to look at 2020 versus 2019.
You can only show it for the period of when the COVID started until December 31st.
Mm.
That's the only period that you can show for your hall rental losses.
So I would assume you had substantial.
I'm thinking yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Now, when they do the audit, will they go back and see, well, this is what you did last year compared to what you did this year? Now, we've actually changed the way we rent our hall now. Everything is done online. It's much more user-friendly than trying to wait for a callback. So I think that attributes to us renting quickly. You know, so if you could phase all that into it and say, look, we lost more potential this year than we did last year. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see what an auditor says.
Mhm.
It's just like the apparatus repairs. They said you can pay for apparatus repairs as long as it's related to the COVID. So that means, okay, if you consider the fire department the second string, if the EMS units were to go down and they couldn't respond, then the fire department's going to run medical. So you have to keep your apparatus in repair. Now, will they look at your budget and say, well, last year you budgeted $60,000 for apparatus repairs, and this year you spent $70,000 in apparatus repairs, so you can only use $10,000 of those funds because you were only $10,000 over your budget? Those are the kind of questions that I'm afraid of right now. That's why we don't want to spend the money.
Or if you didn't have the operations money, but you get the income coming in, you'll have that income. Because you don't have any funding coming in. That's the budget.
Bird in hand.
Yeah, we applied for and were approved for the state and county grant as well. I think 15,000 at the county level and I think in 24,000 at the state level. And we won't have any problem showing lost revenue. We had to cancel our auction and our marathon this year, so that's probably $120,000-$130,000 hit. So I think we can use that pretty easily. We did have our other dinners and everything, so we're still going to be fine. It's just a matter of shifting things around a little bit. We did have a barbecue fundraiser there at the station, an extra one this year in October for the Boyer family to help raise funds for Jason's injury and help pay for some of the hopefully renovations to their home that they'll need to do to accommodate him. And we do have a support group in our community. The fire company's helping with that a little bit to help them. And I think I understand they did submit, I think, some things to the township. They're working on doing some renovations. So I appreciate you guys working with us on that. They said they've been very accommodative so far to them. So appreciate that. Other than that, I don't think this hasn't been a whole lot going on. So I think that's all I have. Obviously our chief, Don, like I said, his son was in the accident. So it's probably why his schedule's been really crazy. So you may not see him for a few meetings anyway, but in case anybody's wondering where he's been the last couple of meetings, that's why, so.
Understandable. All right, Ronks.
First thing, that is a few things for Ferdinand, Whitmer, and Lafayette. Clutch, I take it, correct me if I'm wrong, this is from the safety committee.
Yeah, I think what you'll find in there is the list of the panel of positions that the SWIFT program uses for a workers' comp claim activity. So if somebody's injured, so they need to go to one of these panel positions for the first 90 days. And then the other thing I think you'll find in there are accident investigation forms. So that, if there is an event where somebody gets hurt, there should be some level of investigation that goes on to identify what happened, who saw what, if there's any lack of use of protective equipment or any issues that contributed to the injury, so that we can examine those at the safety committee level and deal with any changes or improvements or recommendations that might come out of that. So I think that's what you'll be finding in those quarters.
Other things, we also received the county and state grant for roughly 15,024 and some change that money's all allocated out to cover expenses for the year, which electric, repairs, replace the PTO, the rescue. So it's probably going to be a pretty hefty bill. And there's an additional grant that we received this year was the DCNR grant from the Department of Forestry for $2,000. And with that, we will be replacing and adding hose to the squad, forestry hose and appliances that it never had. That's a 50-50 grant. It's roughly 1,900 some odd change, so we'll say 2,000. So our share is 1,000. DCNR's is 1,000. With that, and we had our nominations, and we will have a new fire chief as I am stepping away, and Dad will be going back in as the fire chief.
That's it, okay. Whitmer,
Yeah, we also applied for the grants, and if I understood Matt right, we did get confirmation that we're getting them. I did not hear the amounts. Also in October, we had a takeout ox roast and we got swamped. We were sold out by 2:30, so it was a really, really good ox roast. Also, I will not be fire chief next year. I decided not to run, so with that, I am resigning my position here. So this is the last meeting I'll be attending here, and the new fire chief will more than likely be the person. We haven't had our elections, so I can't
Can't say who that is yet.
I pretty much know who it's going to be, but we haven't had our elections. Things could, there could be surprises.
I understand.
And John Latcher won't be here anymore either. So whoever our chief and president is next year, we will be attending this meeting.
Are you guys staying both involved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's somebody else's turn. That's all I had to.
okay, thank you, Chris. EMC,
Good evening. Each member did receive my report, send everybody a report, copy of the report, received that. Just to everybody up to date, I have sent out also an email in regards to update on the COVID-19 situation. Okay, our county has spiked up really bad. Okay. The healthcare facilities, the 3 healthcare facilities we have, General, UPMC, and WellSpan, we are seeing a lot of COVID patients. I know LGH is full, and I know WellSpan, their facility, 100 some beds, whatever that stuff in that facility, it's full. So hopefully things will go downward, but at this point, we don't see a lower spike at this time. So I would suggest that everybody maintain the CDC guidelines with hand washing, wearing the mask, social distancing, and also I would make sure that you're stocked up on supplies, because I see that it may get to the point where we may go back to where we were at before, but hope not. But there's some things that Dr. Levine was talking about, and with us on UPMC, we have a lot of facilities throughout the state, and we had some conference calls, our emergency management team, conference calls, and we're gearing up, especially with the that's supposed to be coming out, the dose, so forth. There'll be pods set up, so forth. I'll get more out to everybody once I learn about the pods, because what we'll be doing is the first responders and the elderly people and so So I know there's staging plans in progress, and talking about it. And, also, Hutch and I have been back and forth on the EOP plan, or the operation plan for the township. So we're gonna get that out to everybody, and take a look at it. Brett, work on it too as well. And we want to get it out there. See any comments or anything like that? And Brett and Hutch and I will sit down and finalize everything and then be brought to the board supervisor for approval and so forth. I don't know if you, Hutch, did you put anything in for emergency management, a budget or anything like that for next year?
We did, much more than we had available this year, so I think it's $5,000 for next year, but I'll have to check to make sure that Jeff.
The only thing is that Brett and I know we've been asked you about the radio.
Right.
We can do that soon because I was wondering, the county wants everybody on the same page when we get calls now, go over to the private channel or go to the township public safety channel and so forth, and operate, coordinate activities off of that. Because there's a lot of traffic on the radios and so forth. That was one of the things that you sent out to the officers and so forth in regards to county with the office channel and so forth.
To be honest, Jeff, I've heard different things from county control about how they want to manage the radios, so we're gonna have to work through that and see how that's gonna work exactly. But there should be some resource there next year that we didn't have this year.
Right. Anybody have any questions for Brad and I? Anything?
Any citizen members' comments? Any public comment? All right. I hear a motion to adjourn.
I have one question, and it could probably wait till after, but just so everybody's on the same, these forms. I think historically, we've been filling out a SWIFT form. Do we need that also in addition to this?
Yes, yeah, the SWIFT form is to actually file a claim.
Okay, so this is in addition to the SWIFT. All right.
All right, do I hear a motion?
Got a motion to adjourn?
Do I hear a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's over. Thank you all.
Thanks all.
For those that aren't gonna be here next year, thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Chris, thank you. Yeah,
Appreciate all of your efforts.
really, very much so. Thank you. Everybody, please. Dave. Thank you, man.
Hey, Dave, thank you for your service. Merry Christmas.